Good evening, team. Welcome back. My name is Andrea, and as you know, I am discussing my experience in litigation with the Phoenix Suns of Mercury. And tonight, especially for all the young leaders who are aspiring to be in these types of roles, I'm going to take some people to school because when you attain certain roles like the ones that I'm going to be discussing tonight, there are things that you should and should not do. Mm. But because they chose not to do those things, I am here to expose everything because they continue to waste my time. They're not being serious. And if I'm just being honest, they're terrible people. So, the first person in this video I'm going to be talking about, her name is Kimberly. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about my former boss, Kim, their former attorney, who I think still has connections to the organization, Melissa. And then I'm going to be discussing one of the attorneys that they hired when this went to litigation, Leah. I'm also going to be discussing someone that I will only refer to as Miss Westbrook, who works for the Attorney General's office. And then I will be finishing off with the owner of both organizations, Matt. So let's get started. So, when you reach the pinnacle of your career and you make it to become a senior vice president, a chief, something in the C suite, there are things that you are literally supposed to do. For example, if you become the senior vice president of people and culture for a professional basketball team, and then get promoted to chief people officer, and then get promoted to, I think, operations, chief operations officer, something like that. Don't really care enough to correct it because she didn't care enough about doing her job well while I worked there and since. So let's talk about it. So, one, if you've watched my videos, you already know that 2 weeks after I had my annual review, where I got rave reviews, and the only negative comment that I received was slow down because the people that were in the C suite and senior vice presidents couldn't keep up with me. Interesting. But 2 weeks later, after a young white girl named Jessica McNeese was yelling in my face, she went and reversed the tale and said that I was yelling at her. She pulled a full Karen in the workplace and didn't get any type of discipline. So, see, as the head of people and culture, which is just a fancy way of saying, or the rebranded way of saying HR, human resources, it is your job to mitigate risks and damages. But let's take a look at what happened and see if she did anything to mitigate risks and damages for this organization. So, first of all, when all of this came to be and Jessica lied, along with Jennifer DeGassis, who also lied about what happened, and then I told my truth about what happened, and it's a professional basketball arena, there's cameras everywhere, I was put on administrative leave and sent home. But Jessica, the white female, and Jennifer, the other white female who lied, do you think they were also put on administrative leave? No. If you make it to that type of role, you should discipline everybody the same. If you don't discipline everybody the same, people have things like lawsuits that they could file because that would be discrimination of any type. You treat people the same. You don't just take the side of one person and believe that one person while disciplining the other person. But Kim did exactly that. She sent me home, embarrassed me, put me on administrative leave. And then once she realized that this was all on tape and that Jessica and Jennifer lied about what happened, she had to figure out a way to get me out of there because she was not going to discipline those two white females. So 2 weeks after I had a great review and had no issues, she puts me on a 30-day PIP that had over 20 things on it. Now, in case you're wondering and you want to go into HR, a performance improvement plan should never have over 20 things on it. It should only have 1, 2, or 3 things on it. And if there's more than that, that should be a 90-day PIP. Funny, the head of HR should know that, right? Right? I think so. But she did none of those things. And then after I was out of the organization and I filed my complaint with the Attorney General's office, Kim then perjured herself in her deposition and made up all kinds of lies that I have actual documentation to prove that she lied. Now, we're going to move on to their attorney and see what she should have done in her role as head legal counsel.